and Jessica Tarlov, who actually fact-checked, I think she was outnumbered, and basically told Kaleigh McEnany where to go. They are tiny specks, though, in the full-on BS machine. It's... Tell me something. Those who watch Fox, is it like some hit? Are they on a intravenous strip? I must just listen non-stop to the stuff from Fox. Plug myself in. Trump is wonderful. Trump is great. This is superb. Hearts beating. Yes, yes, yes. Whatever you say. Yes, yes, yes. Is it? There's something I'm missing.
Tweeting the person who said that. And he said it is a bad sign for our democracy. How many people think the New York Times objectives should be to help Democrats win rather than do good journalism? Good for Nate Silver. Jessica.
That came actually off of a Joyce Carol Oates tweet.
Yes.
And it has sparked, I think, a lot of interesting and important discussion for people on the left to be having about this. There's a big misconception about me and my fellow liberal brethren. Can I say that as a lady?
Anything but
whatever
you could say.
My liberal pals that we go home and we pray to the New York Times or the Washington Post, and we have tattoos that say democracy dies in darkness. The truth of the matter is that the New York Times was responsible for Hillary Clinton losing the 2016 election. The server story came from there, and the Uranium One story came from there.
Wouldn't it be her actions that were responsible?
Well, no, because it ended up that she didn't do it. That's the problem with it. So there is a overwhelming feeling on the left that because of the need for clickbait and to keep people engaged and keep people watching and tuning in, that people are taking unnecessary shots at Democrats. And we're going to talk about...
I've just got to say, Joey Jones, and I don't mean to cut you off, we just only have a few moments here. The Associated...
Trump comes out and he uses hyperbole and he's bombastic. Get all the troops out of Afghanistan. Every American that doesn't hate Trump already sits there and goes, he's wanting to try to get some troops out of Afghanistan. They don't sit there and go, well, by that statement, he meant every single individual out of Afghanistan. The hyperbole of Trump was baked into the assessment of who he was. Fact-checking Trump's hyperbole was never going to be a winning strategy, so they just doubled down on it and fact-checked everything. And really what it is, it made Americans think fact-checkers are full of it or partisanly driven. But fact-checking Biden is completely different because he says specific lies. I was at this place with this person. That's not true. It's provably not true. Oh, well, it's because he's old and he just misremembered, which is the same thing as making it up. And that's why it hits harder and cuts deeper with someone like Biden, because he ran on this idea that he wouldn't be hyperbolic, that he wouldn't say things that are falsehoods, which are just another way to say lies.
There are a lot of specific Trump lies. We have to go, but we could get into the specifics of it. I mean, just this week talking about I didn't have access to the documents that were sitting in my house.
Fact-checking Joe Biden, and I could take you to midnight. All right. Biden's bragging that no one can stop his student loan bailout, not even the...
No lie, I was driving somewhere the other day and actually saw this sign, stand-up comedy classes. I tried stand-up comedy once and I wasn't very funny. Having said that, you could probably say it was due to the material. If I tried now, I would probably start with Matt Gaetz and Jim Jordan. I don't think you need any more material. Just in case you do, I'll let you see some of the stuff that went down at CCRAP. People, this is the weirdest thing, I didn't realise, people pay to go to CCRAP. Don't ask me why. Would you pay to go and hear Jim Jordan and Matt Gaetz speak? No jokes about Venmo either, by the way, or what was it, Cash App, however Matt Gaetz allegedly gets his money for that other stuff. We won't go into it right now. But yeah, if you're a wannabe stand-up comedian, here's some material.
And I like that even better, because it is so true, so accurate, what we see with the federal government, these agencies, what they're doing to we the people, and he is fighting for us. And so let's get behind him and make sure he wins in November.
I'm not sure if Jimmy Kimmel understood what the title of this conversation is. What you talking about, Willis? Bonnie Willis. Did she get back to you today?
Yeah, we subpoenaed her. Not yet. I just talked to her staff.
Wait, is she supposed to get back to you today?
Yeah, she's supposed to get documents.
Well, did you hear from her boyfriend?
We haven't. So I was talking about this in the office, and I said Fonnie Wade, and just like a Freudian slip, like it's Fonnie Willis and Nathan Wade. So no, we haven't heard back from her yet. We'll see what we get from her. But there's a whistleblower in her office who we have talked to, the committee staff. Yeah, and The whistleblower, I think she's like 4'11", but Fani Willis had 7 police escort her out when she fired this lady, because this lady raised the concern that Miss Willis was not spending federal funds and not following the grant, the rules of the grant and the grant dollars in the appropriate manner. So she raised this concern, and then Fani Willis fired her. She's now talking with our office, and we'll see where that goes. And that's why we subpoenaed for records and documents related to this. We'll see what we get. There's still a few hours left in today. She also was interesting. She, instead of accepting service on the subpoena, she made us send the U.S. Marshals. Even though our office had talked with her office, we've had correspondence back and forth, she made the U.S. Marshals take the subpoena there. So go figure. This is Fani Willis, and we all saw her, I think, her attitude on display when she took the stand a few weeks ago.
I thought it was a skit, but I think it actually was real life.
It was real.
We sent out a tweet that said, we didn't invite Fani Willis to CPAC, but there is a Fani sandwich with a chaser of Grey Goose vodka if you have enough cash, ready cash in your pocket.
Yeah, the comedy routine from Mr. Slap coming out today. That's awesome.
It's been a long year, Jay.
Well, but we appreciate what you do.
Well, as I say sometimes, the immigration issue is extremely simple. The policies involved in fixing it are very complicated. The simple part is seal the border, deport all the illegals. Now, that's the short answer, right? You get in, you have 2 policy objectives that you proceed with utter determination on. Seal the border, no illegals in, everyone here goes out. That's very straightforward. In terms of the policy sets to accomplish this, as President Trump showed in his first term, it's a series of interlocking domestic and foreign policies to accomplish this goal. In no particular order, just to rattle off a few fast, you have your Safe Third agreements, you have Remain in Mexico, finish the wall, you have robust prosecutions of illegal aliens, you do interior repatriation flights to Mexico and not back to the north of Mexico. It's very important. You re-implement Title 42. You have several muscular 212Fs, that's the travel ban authority. We did a few of those in the Trump administration. You would bring those back and add new ones on top of that. You would establish large-scale staging grounds for removal flights. So you grab
front-load washers do not require the tub to fill with water like top-load washers. Since front-load washers do not require the tub to front-load washers do not require the tub to fill with water like top-load washers do not require the tub to fill with water. Significantly less water is required. Significantly less water is required. Top-load washers. Significantly.
Woke doctors are literally making boys into girls. They're practicing mutilation, not medicine, and they should be in prison.
Because if you come, like you just talked about, to our house, right, you better bring a coroner with you.
Yeah, exactly.
When you come to the blue states, you can guarantee that there are free victims there.
Yeah.
And so this is why shall not be infringed. Our ability to protect ourselves, our businesses, the American way of life.
I'm just going to say it. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, they suck. So luckily, we are not going back to the good old days of the Romneys and the Cheneys and...
By the way, whenever you're the White House counsel, if you work for a Republican, everyone knows who you are. There's stories constantly about all the legal turmoil about every Republican president. I don't know if people realize that Joe Biden has a White House counsel. He's pretty much anonymous. I've never read stories about him.
I don't know. Maybe the guy did lie. But it sure is quite a contrast for Christopher Steele can give false information about President Trump, and he continues to get paid. This guy, this Mr. Smirnoff, can give false information. What they've said is false information, and he gets arrested. Double standard again.
I might just be important.
Sure is.
Catherine Herridge, what is going on?
Well, we're trying to dig into this, but what happened here looks really, really wrong in my judgment, because they've grabbed everything. So this is her sources, her information. And that is just does not happen when you're talking about the press. We're talking about what CBS, just as this breaking story, CBS fired Catherine Herridge, who, by the way, has done an amazing job, an amazing journalist, fair journalist, and grabbed her stuff. I mean, literally grabbed her stuff. So this is, again, I think this further encroachment by folks on the left, which now unfortunately controls the Democrat Party, this encroachment on First Amendment rights. And, you know, think back to COVID. They told Americans, we had governors and mayors tell Americans, you can't go to church on Sunday. In America? I mean, think about that.
The government closed down the church.
Yes, it's crazy. And that I remember I gave a speech to the New Mexico Republican Party in Amarillo, Texas, because their liberal Democrat governor wouldn't let them assemble in their own state. So they had to go to Texas to get the freedom to assemble. And on it goes. So
and
it's
I think
scary.
a lot of them just ended up staying because it was a much better place.
Maybe. So, yeah, this is scary what's happening to Catherine. Many of you, I'm sure everyone knows what great reporting she's done over the years, both for Fox and then for CBS. But what CBS has done just doesn't make sense, and something that we're going to dig into.
So now Democrats, they believed in these things some point between 20 years and like 20 minutes ago. Now they are the party of forever wars abroad, high prices, low tea, and reverse racism here at home. And by the way, trusting Joe Biden for 4 more years in the Oval Office is like trusting Dominion to count your votes. It's a risky bet.
One quick thing, John Roberts is weighing into this, well, he's a newsreader, but obviously he's allowed an opinion because he works at Fox Entertainment. So he's weighing into this whole Alabama IVF situation. He's entitled to his opinion, but you would think somebody who him and his wife have actually benefited with IVF, he would take a more responsible, informative, position. But no. He actually leaves out just listen to how he says that KJP is wrong with linking Roe v. Wade to what's gone on in Alabama. Very strange that, John Roberts. John Roberts, you are what I would call you're not good, really. You've got experience on the subject. A lot of people would like to know an awful lot more, and instead you're trying to pretend you don't know as much as you actually do, and what you do know, you're going down the lane of total incorrection. And you're getting all emotional about it as well.
White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre was just asked about the Alabama Supreme Court ruling that stated frozen embryos amount to unborn children. Listen to what she said.
The state Supreme Court has put access to fertility treatments at risk for families who are desperately trying to get pregnant. It's unimaginable for people who want to become parents, and it's a devastating example of the kind of chaos and confusion that has resulted from the overturning of Roe v. Wade.
She went on to say that IVF is under attack, calling the ruling absolutely unacceptable. But Sanders, she tied it to Roe v. Wade, and it has nothing to do with Roe v. Wade. This was a case in Alabama of a patient who wandered into an area where embryos were being stored, removed some embryos from the cryo-freeze, dropped them, and the embryos expired. The court ruled that those parents were allowed to sue the hospital for a wrongful death, but it had nothing to do with Roe v. Wade.
Yeah, obviously that will be discussed and analyzed after that was just said at the White House a few moments ago, something everybody's talking about both sides of the aisle, John, heading into tomorrow. Speaking of